Eye on Gauteng, brought to you by the Gauteng Department of Economic Development.
Hello and a warm welcome to Eye on Gauteng. I'm Lionel Skink. Thanks for joining us. Fashion, fashion, fashion. It is perhaps one of those industries that will always be around as long as people see the need to clothe themselves. Now, on this edition of the show, we are keen to look at the business side of what is a multi-billion-dollar global industry and how some cities like Paris, New York and Milan have succeeded in becoming synonymous with fashion. Now, the question we asked today is, can Gauteng's City of Gold, Johannesburg, become Africa's next fashion capital? And can our local industry realize its potential for economic development and job creation? Now, to answer these and other questions, I'm joined by my esteemed fashionable panel, is the Managing Director of African Fashion International, Mr. Grant Blackbeard, Senior Project Creator for Creative Industries at JEDA, that's the Gauteng Economic Development Agency, Ms. Palisa Garekwe, and Creative Director of Fabiani, Ari Fabian. Thank you very much to my guests and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right. Now, before we take our discussion to the next level, let's have a look at Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week Johannesburg, an event held at Joburg's stylish Hyde Park Corner.
It was a feast of fashion. Joburg's well-heeled came out in droves to witness a fashion show billed as the most exciting in years. A headline sponsorship by Mercedes-Benz added to its international standing.
I'm wearing Malcolm Clock. He's one of my favorite designers.
I'm very excited about Joburg Fashion Week, and especially because of the new sponsor.
Fashion Week is traditionally the annual showcase for some of the country's top designers. New creations and next season's trends are seen for the first time.
I mean, we always look for something that triggers the collection for us, and I think this year it was the painting Liberty Leading the People. And we were actually in the Metropolitan Museum in October last year, and we just saw all this beautiful art, and it's one of the paintings that kind of came to, I think that's actually where we started planning this collection. And also we wanted to do something different to what we did the last collection. The last collection was romantic and light and soft, and so we wanted something a little bit more dark, a little bit more sexy, a little bit more sort of empowering. Yeah, passionate.
Well-known designers gave us a verbal glimpse on what to expect in the coming days.
I'm going to be showcasing my collection that I did a presentation with at New York Fashion Week now in fall. And also, but now it's a full-on collection whereby I am showcasing the entire collection, different fabrics, a bit colorful, a bit of fun in winter.
And on to the business of fashion. Major sponsor Mercedes-Benz spoke of the conversions of the two brands.
Well, for Mercedes-Benz being a premium automobile brand, I think it's just a logical move to associate with fashion. I think a lot of the topics that people are looking for, lifestyle elements, be it quality, design, style, we have a lot in common there. And as such, we have been engaged in fashion for quite a while internationally, and it's great that we have now found a very professional partner here for South Africa, for the African Fashion Weeks, I should say, Cape Town and Johannesburg. And we are very excited to, as such, also be able to talk with some new customers, especially younger target groups that probably in the past were not so much attracted to our brand. So I think it's a really good association, and we are looking forward to a long-term relationship.
Johannesburg has proven to be a prime location for the fashion industry and a hub into the rest of the continent.
As I said, I think what the important thing is that the easy movement in and out of into Africa or within the continent. We're not in Gauteng, a better place for connection in terms of flights and all of those. But as you know, that as things stand now, we offer probably the best in the shopping space with the shopping malls that we have in our province. We're also working with the Italian outlets stores that we want to put some of those other stores into our province. So it's not a mistake that Gauteng indeed will continue to be a gateway. Of course, we know that many countries in the continent are working hard at work in improving their status. We'll continue to excel and make sure that we are a gateway to the rest of the continent.
South Africa's growing competitive fashion industry has strong potential for international success.
It's gotten better and better over the years. We're seeing people like David Tlale making it into the international retail stores. In fact, we're seeing a lot of the local designers make it into our local retail stores for ordinary South Africans to experience what they're doing. And that certainly means that their standard has improved.
This week's Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week proved that the Johannesburg fashion industry means big business.
Well, Grand Fashion Week at Johannesburg, great show. This is the first time that Mercedes-Benz is around. In fact, you've rebranded. It's now called the Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week Johannesburg. What is the significance of Mercedes-Benz?
I think first and foremostly, Mercedes-Benz is an international brand. And of course, Mercedes-Benz also syndicates and of course supports 12 other international fashion weeks. And I think that the first great strength that's going to come from this certainly is that designers will now be syndicated internationally immediately from this. I think that South Africa has always been considered a great strength on the platform, but not syndicated enough to be able to sit on par with obviously the Milans, the Tokyos, the Berlins. I think that with Mercedes-Benz, the property thereof and the renaming of gives us opportunity to sort of put it into that international frame, and so that we sit on the likes of in the international calendar, and we now have the opportunity to be on par with Berlin, Tokyo, and New York. Also, the intention is that the designers now can benefit from that massively, because the international reach that we have as Africa Fashion International is we can now look at exchange programs and other opportunities around the world which we have access to immediately with this partnership.
Okay. Well, Palisa, from the Gauteng provincial government's point of view, I mean, Fashion Week is a very exciting event on the calendar, but you are also quite interested in the business side. And just a quick word from your point of view with regards fashion and the business side of it.
From the Gauteng's point of view, we've seen how fashion and the fashion designers are able to create jobs. Remember, from the political side also, we are mandated to assist businesses that will create jobs. And we've seen that, the fashion designers, you have those that are at a particular level and you have those that are also not recognized. But the amount of jobs that they are able to create within their small little businesses is quite immense. And we've seen that they are lacking the skills, and we're partnering with institutions of higher learning to make sure that they get the skills that they need. I think partly some of them have not had maybe I'm not quite right in saying that maybe the curriculum that is being offered within the institutions of higher learning lacks the business side. So I think that is where also us as government can come in, partnering with Gauteng Enterprise Propeller, which is our sister agency. They provide the mentorship, they provide the funding for these designers who want to start the small businesses. So for us, it's a very key sector that we see the potential in addressing the creation of the jobs. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the fashion industry. Let's talk to Ari. I mean, the fashion industry has always had this reputation as being this frivolous industry, and it's just for fun. And we just heard from Palisa that it's got a very serious potential to create jobs. Do you see that as well in your experience, Ari?
Yes, I would say so. The fashion industry over here, there's some exceptionally talented people. There is a great resource over here. And I think that the resource needs to be untapped to look at future benefits. And one of the platforms, obviously, is the Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week. And it showcases great design. And I think that we are on a comparative level with many other fashion weeks in the world. And now using Mercedes-Benz's and being available in 12 other countries, I think that we can really be competitive. And, I can safely say by looking at what we are delivering as Fabiani, it's of an international standard and can sit anywhere else, or should I say these 12 fashion weeks.
Ari, a lot of people didn't know that Fabiani is actually a South African brand, or at least it's a South African owned kind of brand. Why is it that everybody thinks that it's international? Is it because it's too good? I saw the show. I was very inspired. Awesome stuff that you have.
Thank you. The show really is, we're a brand that's been around since 1978, and it was really influenced by Italy and Italian. And it was a Fabian that became a Fabiani. Oh, okay. In the eye of the consumer, it's always got an Italian flavor to it. But the reality is that we're creating an international standard, aspirational luxury brand that's available.
Fantastic.
South Africa.
Let's get Grant in from the African fashion, the AFI side of things. I mean, obviously you want fashion to be seen as a viable business, and I just want to find out from you, are you getting the correct number of converts to this idea? I mean, we've just spoken to Arya about the fact that it's an industry that's always got the rap for being like this frivolous industry. Are people starting to take fashion seriously as an industry?
They definitely are. You know, as you say, we fall into this area that people do believe is frivolity, and unfortunately also when you see a fashion week, you believe that that is about chinking glasses and, you know, coming for a social event. But the point is that along the value chain, all that is the marketing tool for the businesses that actually support that. And we, you know, we must take that quite seriously. And at Africa Fashion International, we do exactly the same. We're not mandated specifically to run an event. We're mandated to support the industry, right through the full entire supply chain, right from design to retail. So the intention is that we look at obviously supporting through an event as well, besides giving platform, but obviously helping and supporting through the manufacturing, through the retail, and we'll eventually, you know, grow to offer online retail internationally. And I think that, you know, the reality of that is that it's an industry. It's not an event. And as Ari's quite recently pointed out, is that the point is that there's a thriving industry that evolves around this, and not everyone takes that seriously. The clothing and textile sector is slightly, you know, although we form part of it as creative industries, you know, it's on its own as the fashion sector.
Okay.
And the fashion sector.
What is the worth of the South African fashion industry? Are you able to give us a ballpark figure? Is it lucrative to start with?
You know, as I said, if we isolate fashion industry sector versus, you know, manufacturing textiles and exports, then in isolation it's not huge. You know, we look at, I think Gauteng, you know, I stand corrected, but we look at about 250 million against the GDP, but from design, in other words, clothing, fashion, design businesses. So I think that the strength here lies in the support and the growth of the clothing and textile industry comes from the individual entrepreneur SMME businesses, which are these fashion designers. And the contribution may not be vast now, but we're certainly looking at supporting that, because they're the guys that are going to be able to solve the issue of course, you know, the last 10 years in the clothing industry.
All right, Pali, so let's just bring you in here. Joburg as a fashion capital of the African continent. This is something that the Gauteng government would love to have, wouldn't it?
Oh yes, definitely. You know, Gauteng, like your London and Paris, is a global city region. And one of the characteristics of a global city region is being able to host huge events. I think we've also demonstrated that with, you know, the World Cup. South Africa was able to demonstrate that we are in that space, you know, where we are able to host such huge events. So yes, Gauteng, yes, would love to have, or we are actually positioning Gauteng as the hub of the fashion industry.
Let's get Ari. And I mean, your business started in 1978, family owned in Cape Town. You have a presence in a lot of other places now. In your opinion, Joburg as a fashion hub, would that make sense?
Yeah, I think Joburg is really kind of the epicenter of Africa, the African continent. But I think what's most important, as you see when you go to these shows and you see the consumer is unbelievably passionate in this country, and they're unbelievably aspirational. So it's a very exciting market to untap. And you know, we're very excited about the future, because Fabiani has the ability not only to grow its presence over here, but to grow it with the correct infrastructure into Africa, because we believe that there's demand. So people are very passionate about